If you're receiving NZ Super or a main benefit from work and income, there is a government payment that should be landing in your account right now. And a surprising number of New Zealanders are either not receiving the full amount, receiving nothing at all, or sitting on an overpayment debt they don't even know about yet. I want to make sure that doesn't happen to you. I'm David, and you're watching New Zealand Pension Plan, the channel where we break down NZ Super, government support programs, and important updates that could affect your finances, so you can make informed decisions and make sure you're receiving every entitlement you may qualify for. In today's update, we are going all in on the winter energy payment for 2026. I'm going to cover exactly who is eligible, what the confirmed rates are for this season, the specific payment dates you need to write down, and, this is critical, I'm going to walk you through the traps and mistakes that are costing real New Zealanders real money right now. There are at least 5 situations where someone who should be receiving the winter energy payment is missing out entirely, and I want to make sure you are not one of them. I'm also going to set the record straight on some misinformation that has been circulating online because there are websites out there publishing figures and claims about the winter energy payment that are simply not accurate, and I don't want that misinformation affecting your financial decisions. Stay with me, because later in this video I'm going to share one opt-out trap in particular that could mean you've been missing this payment for years without realizing it. Let's get into it. The Winter Energy Payment, or WEP as it's commonly known, is a seasonal government payment administered by the Ministry of Social Development through Work and Income New Zealand. It was introduced in 2018 under the Social Security Act, and its purpose is straightforward: to help eligible New Zealanders cover the cost of heating their homes during the colder months of the year. The payment runs annually from the 1st of May through to the 1st of October. That is a period of 22 weeks, just over 5 months, during which an extra payment is added directly on top of your regular NZ Super or benefit payment each week or fortnight. Now, before I give you the confirmed rates for 2026, I want to address something important, because I've seen a number of websites and social media posts in recent weeks claiming that the winter energy payment rates have increased for 2026. Some sites have been publishing projected figures suggesting the payment has risen to around $21 a week for singles and around $32.50 for couples. A couple of sources even went as far as quoting a projected CPI increase of 4.1%. I've gone directly to the official Work and Income website, which was last updated on the 15th of April of 2026. And I can tell you clearly and confidently, those figures are not correct. They are projections, in some cases generated by AI tools, and they are not confirmed government figures. Here are the confirmed, official 2026 winter energy payment rates. If you are single with no dependent children, you will receive $20.46 per week. If you are part of a couple, or if you have dependent children, you will receive $31.82 per week. Those are the confirmed rates published by Work and Income on their official website. They have not changed from last year. In fact, with the sole exception of a temporary increase in 2022, the winter energy payment rates have remained at these same levels since the payment was first introduced in 2018. That is now 8 years at the same rate. Over the full 22-week season, that adds up to approximately $450 in total for single recipients and approximately $700 in total for couples or those with dependent children. These payments are non-taxable. They do not affect your accommodation supplement, your income-related rent, or any other payment you receive from Work and Income. The money lands in your bank account on top of everything else. There is no means test, no income test, and no assets test applied to this specific payment, beyond the basic eligibility requirement of already being on a qualifying payment, which I'll explain in detail shortly. Keep watching, because in just a moment I'm going to walk you through exactly who qualifies, and there are a few disqualifying circumstances that can catch people completely off guard. Let me talk about who is eligible for the winter energy payment. The key requirement is straightforward. You must already be receiving one of the qualifying payments from Work and Income. The payment is not open to the general public. It is specifically attached to existing recipients of government support. The qualifying payments are NZ Superannuation, the Veterans Pension, Job Seeker Support Student Hardship, sole parent support, the supported living payment, young parent payment, youth payment, emergency benefit, and emergency maintenance allowance. If you are on any of those payments and living in New Zealand, you should be receiving the winter energy payment automatically during the qualifying period. You do not need to apply. You do not need to ring work and income. You do not need to fill in any forms. It simply gets added to your existing payment. However, and this is where it gets important, there are circumstances that will disqualify you, even if you are currently receiving NZA Super or another qualifying payment. The first disqualifier is living overseas permanently. If you have left New Zealand and are living abroad, you are not eligible for the winter energy payment. This payment is for people living in New Zealand during the winter months, full stop. The second disqualifier is receiving a residential care subsidy or residential support subsidy. If you are in a rest home or residential care facility and receiving either of those subsidies, you are not entitled to the winter energy payment. This catches some families by surprise when a parent moves into care mid-year. The third disqualifier is a little more technical, but it affects a number of people who have an overseas pension. If you receive a pension from another country, say from the United Kingdom, Australia, the Netherlands, or anywhere else, and that overseas pension is offset against your NZ Super to the point where your NZ Super entitlement is reduced to zero, then you will also lose eligibility for the winter energy payment. If your overseas pension reduces your NZ Super but not all the way to zero, you should still qualify. But if it completely eliminates your NZ Super entitlement, the WEP goes with it. I want to pause here because I know that overseas pension topic can be confusing. If you are in that situation and you are unsure of your WEP eligibility, I would encourage you to contact Work and Income directly on their seniors line. The number is 0800552002. They can check your specific situation and confirm whether you are receiving everything you are entitled to. Now let's talk about the specific payment dates for this season, because this is important if you are checking your bank account and wondering why the amount looks different to what you expected. The winter energy payment started on the 1st of May, 2026. However, because the 1st of May this year fell on a Friday, there are some important nuances around exactly when your first full payment will appear. Work and Income pays you for the week that has just been completed. So because the start date was a Friday, the first payment period was only a partial week. If you receive your payments on a weekly basis, your first winter energy payment will have been a part payment in the week of the 4th of May. Your first full weekly amount should have appeared in the week of the 11th of May. If you receive NZ Super or the Veterans Pension, which are paid fortnightly, your first winter energy payment will have been a part payment on the 5th of May. Your first full fortnightly amount should appear on the 19th of May. So, if you look at your bank statement from the first week of May and you thought the amount was less than you expected, that is why. It was a part payment for a partial week. Your full entitlement should be clearly visible in your payment from the 11th or the 19th of May, depending on your payment cycle. The payment continues every week or fortnight right through until the 1st of October. After that date, it stops automatically until next year's season begins. Take a moment now to check your bank account and confirm that you can see the winter energy payment appearing in your regular deposits. If you cannot see it, stay with me, because later in this video, I'm going to explain several reasons why you might not be receiving it even though you should be. Now, I want to address what I consider to be one of the most important and most overlooked aspects of the winter energy payment. This is the section of this video that I believe will be most useful to a significant number of people watching right now. I'm talking about the opt-out trap. Here's something that Work and Income are very clear about on their official website, but that many recipients simply do not know. You have the option to opt out of the winter energy payment if you do not want it. Some higher income retirees choose to do this. Perhaps they feel they don't need the extra support, or they prefer to decline government assistance they don't feel they require. That is an entirely legitimate personal choice. But here is the catch. Once you opt out of the winter energy payment, Work and Income will not automatically restart it for you. Not next year, not the year after. Not ever, unless you specifically contact them and ask them to start it again. Let me say that again because it really is that important. If you opted out of the winter energy payment in any previous year, it will not have restarted automatically this season. You may have been off this payment for 2, 3, 4, or more years, and it will not come back until you actively request it. Think about what that means in dollar terms. If you opted out back in 2022 and never asked to restart it, you may have missed out on approximately $450 per year if you're single, or approximately $700 per year if you're in a couple. Over 3 seasons, that could represent over $1,000 for a single person, or over $2,000 for a couple, that you simply have not received. If there is any chance that you or a family member may have opted out of the winter energy payment in a previous year, please check your bank statements. Look at your recent deposits and see whether the winter energy payment is showing up. If it is not, contact Work and Income on the seniors line 0800552002 or visit their website to complete the stop or restart form. You can also manage this through MyMSD if you use the online portal. The good news is that opting back in is simple. You can use the online form on the Work and Income website, or you can call them directly. But you do need to take that action yourself. It will not happen automatically. Keep watching, because I have more critical information coming up about overseas travel rules that could result in an overpayment debt if you're not careful. The next area I want to cover carefully is overseas travel during the winter energy payment period. Many New Zealanders, particularly retirees, travel overseas during the winter months. A trip to Australia, a Pacific cruise, a visit to family in the UK. This is completely normal and absolutely your right. But if you are receiving the winter energy payment and you are planning any overseas travel between now and the 1st of October, there are rules you need to understand. Work and Income will continue to pay your winter energy payment for up to 28 days of overseas travel. The 28 days applies to your total time outside New Zealand across the entire payment period, not just a single trip. So if you took a 14-day trip in June and then another 14-day trip in August, you would have used your full 28-day allowance. If you go beyond the 28 days outside of New Zealand during the payment period, your winter energy payment will stop. Not pause, stop. Now here is where it becomes financially dangerous. If you leave New Zealand without telling Work and Income, and you are away for more than 28 days, Work and Income may continue paying your winter energy payment into your account during that time. And when you return, they will ask for that money back. That is an overpayment, and you will be required to repay it. The solution is simple. If you are planning to leave New Zealand for more than 28 days between now and the 1st of October, you need to notify Work and Income before you go. For NZ Super and Veterans Pension recipients, you can notify them by completing the Overseas Travel Dates form online at the Work and Income website, or by calling the seniors line on 0800552002. For those on other main benefits, you contact Work and Income through the normal channels, providing your travel dates and reason for travel. There is also an important step required when you return. If you come back to New Zealand before the 1st of October, your winter energy payment does not restart automatically. You need to contact Work and Income after you return to get it restarted. If you do not do this, you will lose those remaining weeks of payment for the season. If you return after the 1st of October, the payment will restart automatically when next year's season begins, provided you are still eligible. These are the kinds of details that genuinely cost people money. Please take note of them. I also want to talk about a specific situation that applies to couples receiving NZ Super, because there is a payment mechanics detail here that is not widely understood. When a couple is eligible for the winter energy payment, the $31.82 per week is paid to one person in the couple, not split between two accounts, paid in full to one account. This applies whether you are living together or living separately as a couple. The way Work and Income determine whose account receives it is based on your client number. The payment goes to the person in the couple who has the lower client number. You can find your client number on your Community Services card, your Super Gold card, or on letters you have received from Work and Income. This might not matter to many couples who share finances, but if you and your partner maintain separate bank accounts, it is worth being aware of which account is receiving the payment. If you would prefer to have it paid into the other person's account, you can request that by calling Work and Income directly. It is a straightforward switch, but it is not something that happens automatically. You need to ask for it. Take a moment after this video to check which account your winter energy payment is going into. If it has been going into an account that one of you doesn't actively use, it may have been sitting there unnoticed. Stay with me because I want to cover one more important topic before we wrap up, and that is the truth about what this payment is and what it is not, because there is a significant gap between what the winter energy payment provides and what many people expect it to provide. Let's be realistic about the winter energy payment's value in 2026, because understanding this gap will help you plan your finances better this winter. $20.46 per week for singles, $31.82 per week for couples. Those are the numbers. When the payment was introduced in 2018, electricity prices were different. Since then, energy costs have risen steadily across New Zealand. Many households that rely on electric heating or heat pumps are seeing winter energy bills that are significantly higher than when this payment was designed. There is broad acknowledgement among welfare policy analysts that winter heating costs can add anywhere from $30 to $50 per week to a household's energy bills during the colder months. The winter energy payment covers a portion of that, but not all of it. At the same time, the rate has not increased in 8 years. In real terms, after accounting for inflation over that period, the purchasing power of this payment is meaningfully lower than it was when it was introduced. The rates are not formally CPI indexed, unlike NZ Super itself. Any increase to the WEP rates would need to come through a budget announcement or a legislative change. No such increase has been announced for the 2026 season. I want to be transparent about this, not to alarm you, but because I think it is important for you to plan your winter budget with accurate information, rather than with an inflated expectation of what this payment will cover. The winter energy payment is a cash top-up. It arrives in your bank account alongside your regular pension or benefit, and you can spend it on whatever you need: heating, food, rent, or anything else. Work and income does not track how you spend it. It is yours to manage. But if you are relying on it to cover your entire winter heating bill, you may find it fall short. This is where programs like the Warmer Kiwi Home Scheme become relevant. That is a separate government-funded program that provides subsidies of up to 80 to 100% of the cost of insulation, heat pumps, wood burners, or pellet burners for eligible homeowners. That is worth looking into separately if you haven't already. The key point I want to leave you with is this: the winter energy payment is one layer of winter support, not the complete picture. Make sure you are receiving it if you are entitled to it, but also make sure you are aware of the other support that may be available to you. Before I wrap up with a summary, I want to quickly run through several claims that are circulating online about the winter energy payment, so you have the correct information. There is a claim going around that the rates are increasing in 2026 due to inflation, or a CPI adjustment. This is false. The official work and income rates page, updated in April 2026, confirms the rates remain at $20.46 for singles and $31.82 for couples. Any website or social media post suggesting higher figures is publishing projections or estimates, not confirmed government policy. There is also a claim that you need to apply for the winter energy payment every year. This is false. If you are eligible, it starts automatically on the 1st of May. You do not apply each year. The only exception is if you have previously opted out, in which case you do need to take action to get it restarted. I've also seen the claim that the current government is planning to cancel or cut the winter energy payment. There is no legislation before Parliament to remove or reduce this payment. Both national and labor-led governments have maintained the payment since its introduction in 2018, and there is no confirmed proposal to change that. If any change were announced, it would normally come through the budget process. The budget typically takes place in late May. You are watching this video after the start of the 2026 payment season, and no such cut has been announced. Another claim I want to address is that you can receive the winter energy payment indefinitely while traveling overseas. This is false. The limit is 28 days. Beyond that, it stops, And failing to notify work and income before you travel can result in an overpayment debt. And finally, there is the claim that higher income NZ Super recipients are not eligible for the winter energy payment because it is income tested. This is false. The winter energy payment has no income test. If you receive NZ Super and you are living in New Zealand, you are eligible regardless of any other income or assets you may have, subject to the specific exclusions I covered earlier. Let me now bring everything together with a clear summary of what you need to know and what action to consider taking after this video. First, the confirmed 2026 winter energy payment rates are $20.46 per week for single recipients and $31.82 per week for couples and those with dependent children. These are official figures from Work and Income, confirmed in April 2026. No rate increase has occurred this season. Second, the payment runs from the 1st of May to the 1st of October, a total of 22 weeks. For fortnightly NZ Super or Veterans Pension recipients, the first full payment should appear on the 19th of May. For weekly payment recipients, the first full amount should appear in the week of the 11th of May. Third, the payment is automatic. You do not need to apply. But if you have previously opted out at any point, it will not have restarted this season unless you specifically requested it. Check your bank statements now. Fourth, if you are planning overseas travel of more than 28 days between now and the 1st of October, contact Work and Income before you leave. Failure to do so could result in an overpayment you will need to repay. Fifth, if you return from overseas before the 1st of October, contact Work and Income to restart your payment. It does not restart automatically mid-season. Sixth, if you are in a couple, the full couple rate of $31.82 goes into one account. Check which account is receiving it and call Work and Income if you'd like to redirect it. Seventh, the payment is non-taxable and does not affect your other work and income payments, your accommodation supplement, or your income-related rent. You receive it on top of everything else. And eighth, if you are in residential care and receiving a residential care subsidy, or if your NZ Super has been reduced to zero by an overseas pension offset, you may not be eligible. Contact Work and Income to clarify your specific situation. The action I would encourage you to take today is simple. Check your bank account. Look for the winter energy payment in your deposits from May onwards. If you can see it, great. You're receiving your entitlement. If you cannot see it and you believe you should be eligible, contact Work and Income on 08 00552 002 for NZ, Super and Veterans Pension recipients, or 08 00559 009 for other benefit recipients. It is also worth taking a moment to consider whether any family member, a parent, a sibling, a friend, might be in one of the situations I described today. Perhaps they opted out years ago and don't realize the payment hasn't restarted. Perhaps they traveled overseas and lost the payment mid-season. Sharing this information with someone who might benefit from it is genuinely one of the most useful things you can do after watching this video. The winter energy payment may not cover all your winter heating costs, and the rates have not moved in 8 years. But it is money you are entitled to. It is tax-free, it does not affect your other support, and there is absolutely no reason to leave it on the table. Make sure you're getting the full amount you are entitled to this season. If you found this update helpful, make sure you subscribe to New Zealand Pension Plan. I'm David, and my goal is to help you stay informed about NZ Super, WINS, MSD, and every important government support update that could affect your finances. Thank you for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next update.